Hey everybody, so I want to talk to you a little bit today about our morning chore fiasco that we had yesterday. Currently I'm 8 months pregnant, so my movements in the morning are pretty slow, so our daughters have taken over morning chores, which morning chores consist of feeding the dogs and the cats, feeding the chickens and letting them out of their coop, and then feeding the ducks and the turkey as well. So our ducks are pretty well like free range kind of ducks. We don't close them in at night. They have a pond that they actually stick around, and we haven't really ever had the need to close them up at night because of the fact that we have our dogs that do our LGDs that roam the property. So there's not a whole lot that gets into the property. Plus the pond's literally in the middle of a pasture. And so it's not like up against woods or anything like that where there could be a predator that could easily get them. So yesterday morning, I'm just starting to wake up, and my middle daughter was super excited to go out feed the chickens and the ducks. Like, she got up really early and she got dressed and cleaned up and she was out there ready to go to feed the chickens and the ducks. And about 7:30 in the morning, I hear screaming, like her screaming her head off. And I kid you not, I went into straight like mom mode, grabbed my robe. I was still in my pajamas, grabbed a robe and literally ran out the door. I didn't even put on boots. Like, I just ran straight out the door because I heard my kids screaming. And my oldest had actually just walked out the door, and I hear her go boom, boom, boom down the steps and go running too. And I'm right behind her. Again, 8 months pregnant. I'm not the fastest person in the world right now. But I was actually pretty stoked still because I was still able to like run pretty fast down to my daughter. What happened is my middle daughter had gone out to feed the ducks, and our oldest Anatolian Shepherd decided that a duck would be a good chew toy. So that sucks. Granted, he's less than 2 years old, and he is still kind of in the training process with our birds. The reason he's still in the training process with like our chickens and our turkeys and our ducks is because for a while we have had to keep him separated from our female Pyrenees because we needed to get him fixed. So he's been on a different part of the property for a while. So we're basically kind of having to retrain him to the birds. He has been absolutely excellent. We have had a shock collar that we've used to kind of help with training him, and he's been perfectly fine. Like, we've had him out for a couple weeks now and have had zero issues whatsoever. We would have him out on a lead line with the chickens literally walking around him, and he would do nothing even before that. We would have him out on a leash, walking him around the ducks and stuff, and he would do nothing. Like, there's been plenty of times where he could have done something, even in the last 2 weeks, where he was completely like running around with all the other dogs and done something, and he hadn't. It just so happened that yesterday morning he decided he wanted a duck chew toy. And so he killed one of our drakes, which is a male duck, and we have muscovies. It's a pretty big bird, so, you know, he actually had to take some time. The bird was actually still alive when I got there. Ended up having to kill it, though, because it was beyond saving. And I get there, and I felt so bad for my daughter, because my middle daughter's 7. So she's out there screaming at the dog, no, Ezra, like getting, you know, she can't do anything. The dog is too big for her to try to like shove into the ground to show dominance or anything like that, or to even pull him away from the duck. Luckily, none of our other dogs were involved in it whatsoever. They were kind of like checking out like what the heck's going on, but none of our other dogs were involved whatsoever. I was able to get my oldest to take our 2 female Pyrenees Anatolian mixes and get them away. And then our friend's dog, who's here on property with us right now, he just went with them. And so I get the other dogs. I have my oldest girls get the other dogs wrangled, and I shoved my dog into the ground that had been going for the duck, and I get after him. I did not beat him or anything like that, but I absolutely showed that I am more dominant than him, and he does not need to be doing that. And so he is back in timeout, and he is back on restricted access to the property in the sense of like he will be getting retrained basically to the birds. And there's obviously things we're going to do now to better protect our ducks as well. And so it was one of those moments where I felt really, really bad for my 7-year-old, because normally it's my 9-year-old that goes out and does the chickens and the ducks in the morning because she's my early riser. My middle daughter's more like me, where she's a little bit slower in the morning, but yesterday she just happened to be really excited about feeding the chickens and the ducks, so she went out early, and she unfortunately is the one who saw the situation. as I was taking our dog that attacked the duck away from the duck and to go put him back in his separated area for the time being, she had finished feeding the ducks. I told her to go finish feeding the other ducks and to go back up onto the house. Well, she had just finished feeding the ducks and I happened to be walking near her, and I told her, I'm like, come here, sweetie. And she's like, no, I'm fine. Like, like she was being, you know, she was trying to be tough. And I basically said to her, I'm like, it's okay, come here. And she came up to me and she just started crying. And I just held her and I said, it's okay. It's okay to be sad. Like, this sucks. Like, and we kind of talked about it. And I was like, don't worry. Like, you know, dogs kill birds. Like, it's not an uncommon thing for even an LGD to, like, you don't want them killing your birds, but it's not uncommon for an LGD who is not completely, obviously, fully trained to kill a chicken or a duck or something like that. It's not a big deal. For an LGD to kill like a sheep or a cow or like a goat or something like that, that's a big deal. Like, that's not, that's a huge difference between a duck or a bird or a rat or a chicken or a rabbit or something like that. And so I said, we just got to keep training Ezra. Like, it's not a big deal. You know, we know what we need to do now, and you know, we'll get there. And so gave her a hug. She calmed down. And then she went back inside to play with her sisters, and I took care of the dogs, got the duck taken care of and everything else. And I come back in, and it'd probably been maybe 20 minutes since I'd been inside, or since I'd given her a hug and, you know, calmed her down. And I said to her, I was like, I asked my middle daughter, I'm like, are you okay? Like, I just want to make sure you're okay. And she goes, yep, I'm fine. And she genuinely was. She was genuinely perfectly fine. And it was just so funny because, like, even my oldest daughter, like, she went out there when we had to, like, dispatch the duck because, you know, we needed to put it down, basically. My oldest daughter came out there because she wanted to see it. Like, like this, I mean, the duck, his back was tore up, not horribly, but his back was tore up bad. Like, it was not going to make it. And, but she wanted to see us put the duck down. Like, and she was genuinely interested in it. Like, how do we put down a duck? And she's 9. Like, it's one of those things that I realized yesterday, that this kind of stuff, you know, farming life, homesteading life can be hard, and there's a lot of stuff that can be negative that happens in it, but kids are so resilient. Like, this is one of those things that this is a part of life. Like, this happens. They know that this kind of stuff happens in the wild. Ducks get killed by predators all the time. That's why they have so many ducklings, like, because they get killed by predators so much. But kids are resilient. They are stronger than we think they are. And stuff like that. Like, today, my daughter's, all my kids are perfectly fine. Like, none of them care. They're like, oh, we got one less duck. Oh, well. Like, like, it's just kind of funny because it's just another day in the life for them. And I think that's great. And it makes me happy to see how resilient they are. And it makes me proud of them too for being so young and still, like, having that, like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be, I was upset that the duck got killed. I mean, I wasn't cry worthy for me, but it sucked. And but at the same time, like, you know, it's a day in the life. Like, this stuff happens, and it's okay to be upset. It's okay to get your feelings out. It's okay to get your emotions out about it, especially as a kid. And then we just move on. And they did, especially my middle daughter, who was literally, like, right there seeing it happen, kind of deal. And I was proud of her. Very, very proud of my middle daughter for being as strong as she was and for trying to be strong even though she was upset. Like, that made me proud of her too, but I also wanted her to know that it's okay to be upset. Like, it's okay for you to cry over this. It was kind of traumatic. Like, let's get the feelings out, and then we move on with life. And so she did, and she's been great, and we're great today, and the ducks are all just fine, and, you know, my husband and I are going to be working on getting that situation taken care of. But I just wanted to share that for anybody who's thinking about homesteading, is concerned about maybe, like, their kids and stuff happening. Kids are resilient. They get it. If you just help them through the process and teach them, like, the steps of going through the process, they'll get it and they'll understand it. And it's a lot of cool lessons that they learn too. Some hard lessons, obviously, but it's some cool lessons that they learn too, in the way of also just, like, managing emotions and everything like that. So just wanted to share our super fun yesterday morning chores activities with you guys. And hopefully help some of y'all that are thinking about the homesteading process. All right, hope y'all have a great day. Bye.